Liberal leader Justin Trudeau took his campaign to Hamilton, Ontario, to an indoor soccer complex. Trudeau played up the party's promise to invest $25 billion in healthcare services over the next 5 years, including the hiring of 7,500 more family doctors and nurse practitioners. In the leaders' debate last night, Trudeau was under steady attack from his opponents and was mostly unable to launch any sustained attacks of his own. Today he made up for that, ramping up his criticism of the Conservative leader's promises on health care, accusing Erin OToole of misleading Canadians.
He talks about a detailed plan on health care of $60 billion over the coming years, except the detail he forgot was the money, because none of that money flows in the first years. And now is when we need the federal government to step up and partner with the provinces on big investments.
Trudeau also took issue with what he called an offensive question from debate moderator Shachi Kurl to Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet, asking why the Bloc supports what she called discriminatory laws while still denying that Quebec has a racism problem. Trudeau was asked why he didn't object to the question last night.
Quite frankly, I was also taken aback by the assumptions built into that question, which are wrong, because Quebecers are not racist.
Trudeau also announced he will maintain flags on federal buildings at half-mast in recognition of the unmarked graves discovered at former residential schools until Indigenous leaders tell him it's time to raise them again. Conservative leader Erin OToole was back on the campaign trail today. At a stop in Mississauga, OToole repeated Conservative promises for increased health care funding and to make life more affordable for Canadians. And OToole sought to frame the ballot question for voters.
So to every Canadian, with just over 1 week to go, we face a choice. Canada's recovery plan or more of the same.
OToole was also asked about the question in the debate last night to the Bloc leader about discrimination and racism in Quebec.
Quebecers are not racist, and it's unfair to make that sweeping categorization. They've made decisions and laws passed by their National Assembly. I will respect that.
While the Liberal leader would leave Canadian flags on federal buildings at half-staff to mark unmarked graves at former residential schools until the Indigenous leaders agree they should be raised, Erin OToole says he would raise the flags soon after Canada marks National Truth and Reconciliation Day on September 30th. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh joined supporters in downtown Ottawa before heading to British Columbia to cast a ballot in the advance polls. Singh repeated the message he hammered in last night's English language leaders debate, urging voters to turn their backs on the Liberals and Conservatives and vote for real action.
But you're not stuck with those two choices. We put to Canadians, you have another choice. Better is possible, but if you want that, you've got to vote for it.
But Singh continues to face questions about a platform that promises massive new spending for social programs, but doesn't attach a price tag to those promises.
Everyday folks go to work, punch in, punch out their clock, and they pay their fair share. Why is it that billionaires don't? Why is it that wealthy corporations don't? People don't feel good about that. They feel that's wrong, that's a rigged system, and we're going to end it. And by doing that, we're going to be able to invest more into people. So we've been really clear every step of the way. We're not going to cut services to people. We're not going to put more pressure on their shoulders. We're going to make billionaires pay their fair share.
Singh promised the fully costed platform will be released on Saturday. Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet cast his ballot in the advance poll today. He slammed other leaders for standing by last night, while he says Quebecers were insulted by the moderator's questions and predicts the debate will sway more voters in Quebec to support a strong Bloc presence in the federal parliament.
We're all in this together.
And one other campaign note. Just ahead of last night's raucous debate, confrontation gave way to cooperation as the party leaders joined together to encourage all Canadians to get vaccinated.
Get the shot.
And that's the kind of day it's been. Day 27 of the campaign. The final stretch is underway.